Okay, picture the biggest thing you can imagine in the world of One Piece.
Right.
Maybe it's oars. Maybe it's San Juan Wolf. Usually when we talk about Elbaf, big is just the baseline, right?
It is, yeah. We expect giants.
We expect giants, massive trees. But looking at the report for Chapter 1174, I feel like we need a new dictionary.
We really do. The scale has completely shifted. It's a redefinition of the word massive.
Exactly. We aren't just talking about giants anymore. We're talking about something that dwarfs them in a way that feels almost, I don't know, wrong?
It's like we've moved from a pirate adventure into a full-blown kaiju movie.
Yes, and I don't say that lightly.
That's the perfect framing for this deep dive. We're looking at a transition from, standard tactical warfare to something almost biblical. The source material here presents this triad of massive developments. We have a humanitarian crisis that is genuinely hard to read.
So hard.
And then the headline event. The awakening of a power so large, it literally shakes the island.
And that's our mission today. We're going to unpack the tragedy on the ground, the terrifying reveal of Loki's true devil fruit, and this chaotic, incredible alliance between a sun god and a black dragon.
But you have to start with the atmosphere.
You do, because before the dragon shows up, the vibe on Elbaf isn't adventure, it's just despair.
Total devastation. That's the starting point. The reports describe Elbaf not as the proud warrior nation we've heard about, but as a smoking crater, a war zone.
And it's not just the physical damage, right?
No, not at all. What struck me most was the psychological dismantling of the entire population.
You're talking about the methods used by the villains, Summers and Gunko. And honestly, reading the notes on these two, it's just chilling.
Precisely. Usually in this world, you fight for territory. You fight for a poneglyph. Here, they are fighting to erase agency itself.
Let's drill down on Summers first, because I read the section on his attack on that ship, and it made me physically angry.
I get that.
This isn't just a bad guy does bad things kind of thing. There's a specific malice here that feels different.
It's the total devaluation of life. The report details an incident where a ship is trying to flee the chaos. And this isn't a battleship. It's a transport. It's carrying children. And Summers doesn't just sink it. He unleashes an explosion so potent, the source describes it as ripping a hole through the clouds down to the ground.
It's complete overkill, a show of force for the sake of it. But it was his comment afterward that really got me. I have the quote right here.
Let's talk about replacements.
Yes. He just shrugs it off. He says the death of these children doesn't matter because Elbaf has plenty of giant children. Just find replacements.
And that line is the key to understanding the threat. It's a utilitarian nightmare. To Summers, these aren't people.
They're livestock.
Inventory. Just find replacements. Implies that the individual spirit, the personality of a living being, means nothing. It sets the stakes immediately. We're not just fighting to save a king. We're fighting against an ideology that views life as disposable.
And then you pair that physical brutality with Gunko, who is he's operating on a completely different axis of horror.
A psychological one.
Yeah, Summers brings the explosions, but Gunko brings what? Hypnosis?
It's a very specific, insidious form of control. The report mentions invisible arrows and a hypnotic effect that completely strips the targets of emotion.
That's the scary part. It's not mind control where they're fighting it inside their own heads. It's a void.
Exactly. The source material describes the children being stripped of fear, of joy, of any resistance. They're moving like machines.
Marching toward an abyss.
Yes, completely compliant. It's the total loss of agency that makes it so frightening. In a series that is so fundamentally about freedom, the drums of liberation, this is the absolute antithesis. It's the silence of slavery.
Which brings us to the parents. And this character, Ripley, this part of Deep Dive was heavy.
It's the emotional anchor of the entire chapter.
Yeah.
You have these parents, Ripley included, watching their children march into nothing. They realize they can't break Gunko's hypnosis.
And they can't stop them physically.
Right, because of the invisible arrows. So they're faced with this impossible choice. Let their children be taken and used as tools or
end it. If we die, we die together.
That is the line. The visual described is just haunting. Parents clutching their children who are still in this trance, probably just staring blankly ahead, and they jump.
They jump into the abyss themselves.
They choose death on their own terms rather than letting their children become replacements.
It's the ultimate act of despair, but it's also an act of defiance, isn't it, in a weird way?
It is. It's the only agency they have left. And structurally, this is brilliant. Because when things are that dark, when you have parents jumping off cliffs, a normal hero just isn't enough.
A rubber man punching someone isn't going to cut it.
You need something primordial. You need a force of nature.
You need a dragon.
You need a monster to fight the monsters.
So let's pivot to that aha moment, the recovery. We know Loki was down for the count, but this is One Piece. So the recovery plan isn't stitches. It involves meat.
So much meat. It's a consistent trope, isn't it? The high metabolic efficiency. The report notes he just consumes a massive feast and fully recovers his stamina in 10 minutes.
10 minutes. I need 10 minutes just to decide what to watch on TV. He's ready to reshape the geography of the island.
But it's what happens after the snack that we really need to analyze. The transformation. The Black Dragon.
Look, who are you? The moment I read Black Dragon, I got chills, but then I looked at the specs in the report. Big doesn't do it justice.
Not even close.
Can you walk us through the description? Because I think people might underestimate the scale we're actually talking about here.
Right. So usually in this world, a giant is the ceiling of size for a humanoid.
It's right there in the name.
Exactly. But the source material specifies that Loki's true form is 50 times the size of a normal giant.
Just pause on that. 50,
Yeah.
5, 0.
Yes. So if a normal giant is, 20 meters tall? We are talking about a kilometer-tall creature.
A living mountain range.
That's it. The report says a single movement from him shakes the entire island of Elbaf. He isn't just a combatant on the field, he is the field.
That's what I meant by kaiju level. If he sneezes, there's an earthquake. If he lands, it's a meteor strike. It completely changes the physics of the battle.
Precisely. And visually, the description is terrifying. Black scales, massive wings, sharp claws. It's a very different aesthetic from, say, Kaido's azure dragon form.
How so?
Kaido was majestic, almost serpentine and elemental. Loki is described with a darker, more jagged edge. He feels more like a force of judgment.
And he's fast. That surprised me. Usually when things get that big, they get slow.
But not here. The report notes his speed is incredible. He flies past the Atom Treasure Tree to reach the upper yokai layer of the world almost instantly.
Just the air displacement from that would be a hurricane.
It would. And let's talk about the offensive capability, the Black Lightning.
Huckley. Now, we need to clarify for you listening. Is this Conqueror's Hakeki, or is this an elemental breath attack? Because usually Black Lightning implies Hakeki.
It's a little ambiguous, but the source describes it as breathing black lightning from his mouth. So while the visual is often a cue for Heki, in this context it seems to be an elemental projection, concentrated, destructive energy.
It fits the mythology. A black dragon breathing black lightning is. It's not a savior figure. It's an omen. It's terror.
It is. Which makes the next part so incredibly One Piece. Yeah. Because you have this terrifying island-shaking black dragon, and then you have Luffy.
The sublime meeting the ridiculous.
Absolutely. So Loki takes off, breaking the sound barrier. Most people just watch him go.
Yeah.
But Luffy, in Gear 5, just refuses to be left behind.
And the visual here is pure Looney Tunes. He's not flying. He's, running on the air?
He's using the atmosphere as a pedal.
And he lands, of course, on the dragon's head.
Where else would he land?
Can you imagine the indignity? You are Loki. You've just revealed your ultimate form. You're 50 times bigger than everyone else. And some little rubber guy in white pajamas lands on your forehead.
And Loki's reaction is noted as being annoyed, which, is understandable. But this leads to what I think is the most critical character beat for Loki in this entire report.
The fact that he doesn't just swat him off like a bug.
Exactly. He suppresses the ego. He makes a strategic pivot. He looks at the reality of the threat summers, Gunko, the dying children, and he admits it.
He says, "There is no other way. I will need your power for the coming battle."
Which is huge. For a giant whose culture is built on individual strength and honor, and for a dragon to admit, I can't do this alone, that's profound growth.
It signals that the crisis has just eclipsed his pride.
And visually, this is the centerpiece, the whole thing. The white glowing sun god representing liberation, joy, the dawn riding, the terrifying dark black dragon.
Representing power, storms, destruction, yin and yang.
It's like a heavy metal album cover come to life.
It is. It's two opposing forces uniting against a common threat. You've got the ultimate freedom fighter riding the ultimate weapon of war.
Which is an incredible image.
But is this safe? I mean, Loki's a bit of a wild card, isn't he? We don't really know if he's good yet.
He is, and that adds tension. This isn't a friendship, not yet. It's a transaction, a necessity.
So they're geared up, they're flying toward the crisis point, and we cut back to the parents, Rickley, and the others, who are still falling into the abyss.
We left them mid-jump, and this is the rescue. Notice how Loki uses his power here. We just talked about his destructive potential, but he diverts his flight path.
And he uses those massive dragon claws.
Which are designed to shred and tear, to gently catch the falling giants.
The dexterity at that skill is insane. It's like trying to catch a dust mote without crushing it.
It redeems the terror of his form. It shows the people of Elbaf that this monster is their monster. He's fighting for them. He returns them safely to the ground.
A classic superhero save, just on a macro scale. The enemy is watching.
Right. Enter Kiriga. He seems to be the tactical commander. He's watching from afar, sees this massive dragon land, and decides to send in the swarm.
The Numa army, the swamp monsters.
Yes, he commands them to attack the location where the seismic tremors are coming from.
I have to be honest, sending swamp monsters to fight a dragon that breathes lightning, that feels like sending ants to fight a boot.
It's a very apt analogy. Maybe Kiriga just doesn't understand the scale of what he's facing yet.
So how does that fight go?
Brief implies there was a back and forth. This was an erasure. The swamp monsters attack, and Loki responds with the black lightning.
Yeah, instant incineration.
Instant. The report says they were just burned away. It's a demonstration of the power gap. The villains thought they were playing a tactical game with hostages, but they just woke up a nuclear deterrent.
And that's where the segment leaves us. Luffy and Loki, standing side by side. The swamp monsters are toast, the parents are saved. But they're still surrounded.
They are. But the momentum has completely shifted. They might be overwhelmed by numbers, but they are overwhelmed with power.
It's such a cool place to stop. You go from the emotional low of the suicide pact to the high of this dragon god team-up.
It's excellent storytelling. But if we step back and look at the so what of this, beyond just the cool factor.
Yeah, what does this actually mean for the bigger picture?
For me, the key takeaway is this theme of unlikely alliances born of necessity. When the threat becomes existential, when it threatens the children of a nation, ideologies and egos get put aside.
And Loki is a very proud figure.
He is. And Luffy is chaotic, good, incarnate. They shouldn't work together. But the crisis demands it.
And I'm still stuck on the spectacle of the size. 50 times a giant. It just changes the hierarchy of power in this world. We always thought the giants of Elbaf were the top of the food chain, physically.
And now we see they're just the floor. It expands the lore ceiling. But it also raises a massive question about control. And this is something you should really think about.
How so?
Well, think about the physics of what we just described. You have a sun god who operates on cartoon physics, and a black dragon that causes earthquakes just by shifting his weight.
They're united now, but these are volatile powers.
Exactly. And Elbaf is made of wood. Can this temporary truce actually hold long enough to save the country? Or, given the sheer scale of these powers, is the destruction of Elbaf inevitable?
That is a terrifying thought. Congratulations, we defeated the bad guys, but sorry we accidentally stepped on your city and dissolved your mountains.
Precisely. When you bring gods and dragons into a hostage situation, collateral damage isn't just a possibility, it's a guarantee. Are they going to save the village by destroying it?
Well, on that slightly ominous note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. We've gone from despair to dragons, and we'll be watching closely to see if Elbaf can survive its own saviors.
Indeed. It's going to be a fascinating battle to watch unfold.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.